Podcast. That's right. The boys out here. It's been a good week. You know what I'm saying?
I had a good week.
Had a few things to tighten up. You know what I mean? Got some shows lined up that we're working on. How was your weekend there?
It was good. I caught a raccoon in my backyard.
Oh, okay.
Well, shouts out to my dog who caught a raccoon in my backyard.
Okay. Shout out to Young Miles.
Young Miles doing this, getting in his little hunter bag, and we captured him, and we gave him a name.
You captured the raccoon and you gave him a name.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We named him Pete. We felt that was suitable because he was a little guy, and you can tell he kind of left the pack somehow.
Okay.
So I'm glad to know that my teenage pit bull doesn't have a problem with attacking intruders.
Okay.
That makes me feel good.
Especially if they're like those critters, you know,
the critters and the creepy crawlers,
the things that can get inside your trash, and you know, just
things that go bump in the night.
Right. So this is episode 2 of the Red Rose Panic Podcast. We are down a few men, but you know, we're here. We're still delivering this great content here to you.
Shouts out to the rest of the band, Rio. Shouts out to Lou. Shouts out to Smokeface. Shouts out to the movement.
We'll have some cool Smokeface ideas here pretty soon.
Thinking of something, we got to get him up here.
He'll definitely make his presence felt, you know, as he always does. But anyway, so we got a couple of topics here. We kind of wanted to stress, you know, us being like a grassroots original band coming up in the circuit of Northeast Ohio, you know, where you can hit a Chicago, a New York, a Detroit. You know what I'm saying? Pittsburgh, you know, those are kind of all within the vicinity. Obviously, Cleveland, you know.
Columbus, Cincinnati, Dayton.
Things that are just, you know,
Toledo.
super close in reach. So we want to kind of have, I don't know, I guess I want to shed that light or that experience that we have of, you know, going to these different cities and our takes as, you know, being an original band from the city of Akron, Ohio, who, you know, we still not shit yet, you know what I mean? But we're kind of...
We're walking. We're walking.
We're definitely in like
to the promised land.
A forward motion, I would say.
Yeah,
so,
for
sure. We just kind of want to give you guys some of our, you know, our takes based on our experience. And go over a couple of different topics there. We did say we're going to ask you guys to submit us some questions, so we're still going to do that.
Absolutely. We need them.
But we got some questions that, you know, we want to, you know, kind of put out there for folks. So the first thing I want to talk about, we had discussed this. So as a performer, you know, being on stage, you notice people out there. You know, you see Shorty in the red dress. You see my man, he know all the words right here. He been rocking with you all night. This dude been kind of in his phone all night. You kind of notice things, you know. So like, what do you notice like while you're on stage? I know you sometimes get people engaged with, you know, singing some parts or whatnot. But what catches your eye?
A lot of times, what I like to do in the midst of a show is I like to scan the audience from, you know, right to left or from left to right. Due to me playing guitar, depending on the song, especially if my muscle memory knows the guitar parts enough, it gives me the option to be able to look up more often and just kind of see what's going on. And, you know, sometimes depending on the song, I see people kind of like recording. I see people just kind of like with their minds wild of, you know, the infusion of music that we play. And a lot of people, I see a lot of people kind of have that perplexed look like, wow, like this is different, but I like it, you know. It's and I kind of watch the audience go through an experience of a kind of a emotional roller coaster through our music. And I think that was the whole point of why we created such an unorthodox way of playing in such a different playing style, because we wanted to catch people in that tundra of being off guard, or like, wow, this is different than I like it, and so I've seen a lot of things. A lot of girls that dance, and so I definitely like to vibe and interact off what the crowd has already given me. And so depending on how they are acting, we when we do that Rage Against the Machine cover, we started that countdown because of the energy that the audience was already giving me, and I was like, I feel like they don't want this to end, so let's count it back down. Let's do it again, and it worked out really well. And it's been something that we've incorporated into our set. So it's all about the energy, in my opinion.
I definitely noticed the energy. That's not make or break for me, but I definitely, I mean, it's obvious you'll enjoy a show better if people are rocking with you. You got the stage presence, but there's sometimes where you gotta persevere and endure, because
that's what I was gonna ask. How do you push past the audiences that it may seem like they not messing with you?
Yeah, well, there's times where it's just not your crowd. Your bag of expertise per se. It's something that they're just, the setting is not. The mood isn't dressed for that. We kind of have some mellow things. We have some things that hit kind of hard. But at the core of everything we do is pretty much hip hop. So we have done like an acoustic set, which I actually did want to touch base back on pretty soon. I was looking at some footage the other day, some fire acoustic footage. But I think just, if it's a crowd that's not vibing, or if it's like lack thereof, where it's just like nobody there and it's like obvious it's nobody there, like, at that point, I like challenging myself. Like, thank God that's not like a commonality anymore. But, it does happen. Things sometimes are promoted bad, or, the weather is very, adverse,
Or it's another event going on.
Yeah, it could be anything. So,
that's the worst.
But you still gotta, keep your head up, keep that energy level up, don't show that like, oh, yeah, this sucks, so I'm just trying to get through it. Like, no, like, I still try to keep that energy up. There was a time we went to Columbus, me and a couple of my friends, one of my friends was opening up for Mickey Fax, and it was like dead ass, like 3-4 people in there. It was somewhere in Columbus, I think, like some club. I think it was Scully's. It might have been Scully's, I'm sure. But I'm not sure if it wasn't promoted well or what was going on, but it was only just a handful of people in there. And Mickey Fax at this time, he was like, you knew Mickey Fax was, he was, in the scene mixtapes. He did some dope NERD cover at the time that I remember. But anyway, it was like only like 3 or 4 people in the crowd, and this is a solo act. He's playing with a track behind him, his music, and my dude was going so hard, like he was just, he was pouring his soul out on stage, and like it was a crowd, like a whole stadium full of people, what I mean? And I think that night, like, I definitely had learned something, like, man, like, to keep that energy up, to impress these 4 people. Okay, it's 4 people here, but I'm about to make these 4 people.
Because you never know who's in the audience.
Exactly.
Man, ever.
You just never know who's listening. Like, I know I'm not really the type to, unless it's like, one of my favorites. I'm not going to be up there rocking hard. I'm sometimes the dude that's just like back there, like looking, analyzing, you know what I'm saying? But I'm, analyzing the set, analyzing the music, you know what I'm saying? Versus like somebody who's just losing their mind, just up front and stuff like that. But so you never know who's there, so I think it's definitely a challenge to keep that energy up, in those type of conditions. Like, you just kind of treat it like a live rehearsal, that's what I go into that.
Yeah, paid rehearsal, yeah.
Like a paid live rehearsal, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna, do your best, and then you gotta show, your band too. I don't want to let my band down. My band's here, everybody's here. We here. We set up. We hitting. You know what I'm saying? I'm not about to be lackluster.
We loaded up, child.
I ain't about to be lackluster because I'm letting my people down. If not, they start missing stuff, or they playing lazy, or you know what I'm saying? I'm not, so.
So okay, let me ask you this. Now that we've said that, has there been a show where it wasn't everything that you wanted to be? And you don't have to specify the show.
Oh, yeah.
But has there been a show where it wasn't everything that you wanted to be, and you was just like, man, I'm about to just get through this.
Man, I've had to, I've had some times where I was under the weather and I was like, man, I'm not gonna be able to make it through this gig. But I would just pray. I'm like, yeah, I'm just tired. I just don't feel right. It's like
Vibe was off.
Yeah, my personal vibe was off, and like, it's like I'd rather be laying down or sleeping. Some stuff like that has happened. But there's definitely been some gigs where, I just kind of had to just pull my pants up, tighten up.
Were your pants down?
No, pull them up. Put your big boy pants on.
Oh, okay. I was like, okay.
Grab a Red Bull, take a shot. Give me that. Whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Thunder.
That thunder in my chest. Because I'm up here. My brothers, man. We up here. We here right now in the present. With the blessing of this youth and these gifts and this talent right here in the now. So I just never want to personally let anybody down. So I would in those situations where those have come about, I've always just tried to persevere. But
you got the sound effects? What are the sound effects? You need like a hand clap. Where the hand clap at?
Let me get that hand clap.
See, you're not even loaded. You gotta have them loaded up.
Okay.
Where the hand clap? Yeah. That was a good heartfelt. So you got like an awe. You got like an awe.
Oh, here we go. Hold on.
Something heartfelt that make you,
Something heartfelt.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't even gotta.
You ain't got an awe. Mm-mm. You ain't got no crowd response of
this
any
is
side.
Like, hold on.
Boo. Let me hear that again. Okay, I want you to give me a situation where that would be relevant.
Oh yeah, we're like, oh man, shawty bad over there, man. She got the knockoff joint song, man. What is this?
The knockoff joint. She got bro. I remember somebody out back in the day when I was wearing Toms a lot. I remember somebody told me.
Guys, just let you guys know.
Somebody told me that there was a knockoff of Toms called Bob's, and I was like, no, like that's a joke. Like there's no way like somebody be that bold to make the exact same shoe and call them Bob's.
Hey, people savages out here,
But that's when I found out it was dog eat dog because Bob said, "Listen, dog, I can make these too." And I never forget, bro. Speaking of somebody, bad chick wearing the knockoffs, bro. I'm a Toms fan at the time. I got like 23 pairs of Toms.
Hey man, shout out to Toms because they doing good.
Shut up. That was the wrong.
Shout out to Toms.
We didn't mean that sound effect, Toms.
Shout out to Toms. They're doing good things. Was it if you purchase a pair, some less fortunate child gets
in the third world country, man. I love Toms. They were some of the most comfortable shoes. Shout out to Toms.
Haven't seen a lot of Toms lately, but I know you out here still doing a good fight.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm sure you've covered a lot of children's feet
and persevered.
Yeah.
And so I had not believed the story of the Toms. Okay. And so when somebody told me, I was like, no. So then I was at this camp and I seen this bad girl, and so like when I want to approach somebody in the past, I would always like look at her like how she looked, and then I would look at like how she dressed. Okay. And I'll be like, okay, cool, I think that's dope. So I look and I go to approach her, and I was like, don't be trying to match your shoes with my shoes. That was like my little pickup line. I was trying to get her. You know
okay, I like that one. Okay.
I was like, don't be trying to match your shoes with my shoes. And she boldly said, we don't have on the same shoes. And I said, what do you mean we don't have on the same shoes? She was like, and I quote, she said, these are Bob's. She was like, I ain't paying that much money for no Toms. And it killed me because I said, first of all, Toms not even expensive. And I said, second of all, why would you openly tell me that you got a knockoff branded shoe? That is terrible. So,
okay. So
was there?
That's so. There was no real point to that, but I mean that's okay. That's one of those moments where you like, oh.
Yeah.
Now
I
you
get
have
that.
the bombs. So, any tips here? So we're talking about like stage presence, what you do on stage, performing live for the first time, like how, you've made it here to this point. You've got a gig you're looking forward to. You've got the flyer. You see your name there. Your band's name, your group name, your artist name. You know what I'm saying? What do you do to prepare? I'll give you this quick little story of what we did. I remember we had shout out to our brother H, Howard Bruce.
Shout out to HB.
We was on the in one of your first spots you moved into when you was back on the Jewett block.
Oh, the Jewett block. Shout out to Jewett Street, Akron, Ohio.
Right. We was on the dirty side. Super dirty.
Well, first of all, the house where I've been, listen, the side of town, that street was just a rough street. Mm-hmm. But the house was cool.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody ever breaking in my house.
The house is blessed.
Ain't nobody ever do nothing. I had a nice house, and a big dog that was getting there to protect the house.
That's right.
Shout out to Tiger.
Shout out to Tiger. But anyway, we had like a kind of a semi-rehearsal. I just remember us being back to back like the cover of Lethal Weapon.
Right.
And we was like, all right, I'm going to spin this way, you going to spin this way. But I think we maybe used the tactic once, like at one of the shows, but like it was still good in that essence to be like in your moment of passion, like
and prepare for that energy,
being prepared, being ready just in case something like that would have occurred. You know what I mean? So
I remember we used to run the set every night before we left. Like, no, bro, we got to run the set like
top to bottom,
and we'll run it top to bottom.
You mess up on a lyric, we starting the song over.
What I think is so crazy is that like in those moments of time, we would sit and we was thinking like, and I remember you saying, man, bro, I can't wait till we just got a band that we just like practicing consistently.
Man.
And like not too long after that, bro, we had a band that was practicing consistently. Then we would meet every day and you was like, bro, I just can't wait to just have shows,
hey,
bro. I can't wait to have shows.
Speak it into existence, bro. That is,
and then next thing you know, bro,
let them know you want it.
We started having shows, and he was like, bro, I'm trying to be the band that like when people come to Akron, they hear about it, blah blah blah. Next thing you know, we shouts out to Porch Rocker again. We headlined in Porch Rocker, and we at Lock 3, and we at Lock 4. And we doing all these things in front of bigger masses of crowds of people that you would have never expected to be in front of, Now that journey was long, you know what I'm saying? And it's still long. We still making it. We still trying every single day. We still driving to work and doing what we got to do. But the fact that we started in one entity with nothing, and we started building up, and shout out to all the people that helped us do so.
Oh yeah.
Because they were very instrumental in that. It took more than just us two to be passionate about the vision for it to come to fruition. So, we all definitely paid our dues, and like we just appreciate everybody around us, because if it wasn't for the people that helped us build it, the people that's got our backs now, it's just we wouldn't be where we at. So
I would definitely say just be hungry, man. You gotta have an obsessive, like you gotta be. You wonder why, like you hear certain things about like artists, about like how passionate they are. Like you almost have to have almost something wrong with you, like where, there's always a plan B. People say I have a plan B or whatever, but ever since day one, I've always treated this like this is what's gonna work. In lieu of it working, we're gonna do this step, this step, this step, in order to unlock this step. Like my plan B's were still part of plan A's, but it was like stepping to those small minor goals.
Right.
You
gotta do what you gotta do until you can do what you want to do. That's the truth.
Right.
Like I get it. You want to like, come off on a whim and a dream, but you got a cell phone bill that need to get paid so you can get called to get a gig. You know what I'm saying? You got an internet bill that need to get paid. Access. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if if you got kids, you got maybe child support, or if you supporting the kids yourself, you got to do what you got to do.
So that brings me to my next point.
Okay.
So getting your start. So like, say if you say if you got a lot of stuff going on, we kind of touched on this episode 1 where it's like, you know, somebody just doesn't have anything and they don't feel like they got talent or whatever. But say you have a talent, say you want, you know, but you know, you got kids, you know, got your situation, you may not have the most money, maybe you might have a whip, phone situation, in between jobs, in between houses, whatever. You know, what would, you know, your advice be for somebody, you know, who isn't, I don't want to say privileged, who can just, you know, they can just turn over to a computer and just, you know, start creating? Like, what would be, you know, something you would give, or some piece of advice you would give to somebody who wants to get started, who doesn't have the most comfortable life at the time? Because, you know, I know you know, dibble and dabble, get it how you live, you know. So you've experienced, you know, I gotta get a job now, you know, but I'm still about to be a musician. I'm still about to be outside the stadium on these drums, you know, getting that gwillop, that whizzop.
That paper.
Right.
No, I mean, for me, it's like, I have 2 sets of advice. I do understand that times can get hard, especially as like a full-time musician. Like, when the gigs is coming, they coming, and it's great. But when they not, they not. And you got to figure it out. You literally got to, like, figure it out. And so, for me, yeah, maybe you do have a situation where you got, you know, it's not the most fortunate, where you got a couple kids, you got, you know, maybe, you know, your home life ain't the best or whatever that is. And, you know, I'm not here to judge that. But in my opinion, if that's something you passionate about, that should be all more the reason why you working, or trying to, at least. You know, everybody got some type of access to YouTube, bro. If you want to be this or that, you can look that up and figure out a way that you can move at your pace. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know not everybody got everything, but when you passionate enough about something, that doesn't matter. You make it work. Like, for instance, like, an alcoholic will fiend for alcohol and not have no money to pay their bills, but you better believe they're gonna find a way to drink. You know what I'm saying? You better believe they're gonna find a way to drink, or, you know, any other type of drug addict, or, you know what I'm saying, even you run out of weed for a day, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, you gonna find a way to get whatever it is that you're trying to get that day.
Right.
And you make it work. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, if I'm trying to make music work, and this is what I want to do, then at some point, I got to cut an umbilical cord and say, like, at some point I have to dive all the way into this thing, or I will never see what I can do with it until I test myself, you know. And the test ain't always easy.
That's definitely what I feel like. You gotta, I understand the plan A, plan B thing, which is great, but you either, you know, if you want to make it and, you know, move forward in life and, you know, have this life, you know, within music or outside of music, you know, because of music, like, you gotta, I would say you gotta go all in. Like, you can't dance around it. You can't, like, be timid about it. Like, you have to study what's going on. Like, you know, be aware of, you know,
you gotta be up on things. You gotta know your craft.
You have
to know your craft.
Please be, and look professional, because that's one thing. If somebody hits you up and you see, like, have your graphics on point. Pay somebody, your man's $20, you know, whatever. Yo, can you get me this flyer right? Like, don't just put nothing out there, because it just
you ain't always got to do it yourself. You ain't gotta, just, even if you think that you good at it. This is why you gotta expose yourself to other creative mindsets, and you have to trust that process, because if you don't, then you gonna stay in the box. I know there's a lot of people who, like, they want to do it all, like you, but you gotta sometimes extend that opportunity to other creatives and learn from them, you know. So definitely, it matters what your stuff look like on Instagram, because that's your new resume. That's your new, you know, if Jobs is checking your Facebook and your Instagram before they hire you to flip their what you think A&Rs is doing? What you think these people is doing that's willing to sign somebody. You know what I mean? Like, they looking at your IG, they looking at these things, so it got to be clean. There are so many resources to like making sure that those things. There are so many pages that'll do your page for you. Like, if you got to hit them up until you can kind of learn the concept, do what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? But don't have so much knowledge available to you and not access it. That's lazy.
I agree. You definitely need to, have somebody take a look at it with you. I mean, have some people that aren't just gonna say yes. If you got some friends that are into that type of stuff, with you look at their page,
right?
They may have some things where that's pretty clean.
I remember you had to get me together on that. Like, and I ain't even gonna lie to you, y'all. I am not the best spellers. I am not the best at spelling. And my friends, thank God for my friends and my wife, because they always get me together. Like, if I spell something wrong, you better believe I'm getting that screenshot in that chat, and I'm getting dogged for the rest of the day. And I go back and I edit it. You know what I mean? And so it's like y'all have been very instrumental in helping me, like, making sure my grammar is correct, and especially my wife, because she's like a grammar Nazi, so she definitely always makes sure my grammar is good.
Double check your stuff. It's just all about it's protecting your brand. You know what I'm saying? You never know who looking at your stuff. So
ever. It's the World Wide Web, and it's on there forever.
So if you're again, if you're just getting your start, I would say try to. It's a way, to take 15 minutes out your day to check YouTube out, or to kind of study up on what you really want to invest into, artistic wise. You can make time for it. Like you said, if you able to do this and you got bills to pay, but you still trying to drink and stuff like that, you definitely gonna find a way to make that happen. That was a pretty cool analogy. I definitely feel that. Like, if you artist, you rapping out here, you going to different local shows, you linking up with people, getting in these studios. What's up when y'all meet again? Do y'all ever cipher, or who, like, whatever it is? Even if you, like, in a band, you just you going to open mic nights, you meeting different musicians. You guys shed anywhere? Maybe you play guitar or bass or drums or whatever. You never know. Who you may meet, or what situation you might pick up.
And don't be afraid to get constructive criticism, man. Like, you might be somebody that, like, maybe is not the best with their words, and they tell you some stuff that maybe you might not like, all like that. But don't be afraid to accept that type of criticism that they say, because that's what they seen from their perspective. That's what they seen from their view. And you know what you seen. And sometimes when you see something, when you watching a performer, they can't tell you what you ain't see. And so when it's the other way around, you got to be willing to play that game. We in a risky business, and you got to understand that you can't expect people to treat you fairly. You can't expect for you to get treated like this or like that, especially if you in this game and you trying to rise up in it. So. You just got to be humble at all costs, be aware of what you look like in public. Don't be out here fighting all the time, man, trying to, like, this and that. If you got to represent, or if you got to defend yourself, then by all means do what you got to do.
Protect your brand, bro.
Protect your brand, because that's the most important thing right now. And we got so many ways to make money outside of going to work for somebody's job. You don't have an option to act a fool in public, especially as a black person. You don't have the option anymore.
And make sure, one thing too, like, with a lot of, especially in Akron, it's a lot of things going on. We have, a lot of very sad moments where you hear about shootings and different things like that. Like, watch who you keep around you. Like, the type of folks' energy that the majority of people you have around you is the kind of energy you're gonna invite.
And reciprocate for yourself. Yeah.
Right. So, check your squad, your circle, like, make sure they're doing good. If they're, they're, into some stuff, or, there's always a problem when you go out with this person or whatever, you need to start cutting them ends, or sit down with somebody and let them know how you feel. And if they still about that, you know what I'm saying, you never know, what you may get mixed in, like, and especially if it's somebody that's a part of, like, your band or your collective, you hear that you're always strong as your weakest link,
right?
And that's true, because, like, if you never know, what situation you're gonna be in when, they're a representation of who you are, and they're doing this, that, and the third, and they don't know them solely, they know them as the conglomerate. Or, like, if it was Red Rose Panic, or why is such and such doing this, or he out here acting crazy, yada yada. Red
You
Rose
don't never want to
crazy.
be guilty by association.
Exactly.
Ever.
So check your circle, make sure the people that you surround yourself with are in that, people that are boosting you up, not people that are grabbing you down because they can't do something that they see you're doing, and they may have tried it. Sure. Even if people have tried it and failed, they still try to give you the tips, like, hey, I tried this, when I was doing this, I was going through this person, you should try that. You need to have those type of people around that are, going to be pushing you forward. So that's, there's a lot of different, things in this, in the world that are temptations, and things that are vices and ailments to you. I mean, a lot of things in celebratory manner are great, but things in, over access, overindulgence, over abundance of these things can obviously create, bad situations, bad lifestyles, bad trends. So you need to have people that are with you that are trending positively. They're doing things in their life, even if they're not doing something, they're encouraging you. Hey man, just want to see if you're cool, man. What's going on? Like, you need those people who are even if they ain't got nothing going on, or they just there just because you cool, or you straight.
They're not afraid to be honest with you. You need people that's gonna be honest with you at all times.
Keep your circle shit. That's part of it.